This morning I woke up in my sister's house and I'm immediately in tears. My wife and I have been together 10 years and married 7 years. We never had a perfect relationship, but we were both happy. We struggled to have kids, eventually doing IVF and having a gorgeous baby girl who is now 2. It seems the past 5 or so years were all about getting pregnant for her. She quit her job to reduce stress and I supported her in doing that. Financially, we've never had to worry about money, because her family is wealthy and she has a trust fund, which owns our house and pays for most of our bills. Despite this, I've continued to work as a lawyer, which I don't like, and started my own firm last year. In 2020 we were pregnant again after yet another round of IVF. And she had a miscarriage, which is very rare when you're doing IVF, I'm told. I wasn't allowed in the hospital with her when it happened, and she was emotionally scarred from the experience. Her parents and I suggested she should get therapy for it, but she refused. I feel like I did my best to comfort her, but she spiraled into a depression, and her way of getting out of it was to seek outside affection. One of the things we would fight about was my discomfort with her having friendships with other men, all of whom she met and had been friends with for many years before me. But I felt it was inappropriate for a married woman to be so frequently texting with the opposite. Most days we would be home watching TV and I'd look over and she was on her phone, often texting another man. Some of these friendships were truly platonic. I don't know if she cheated in the past, but she could have. I'm a trusting and forgiving person. And I gave her too much leeway. In retrospect, I feel like an idiot for not leaving her years ago just because she wouldn't respect my wishes that she not has these relationships. We had several blowout fights over me finding that she was texting her ex-boyfriend, and sometimes I felt like she felt she could do whatever she wants. This was all so painful too because I'd say everyone that knows us would say that I am a wonderful father and husband. I truly don't know why someone I love would be so callous to me, but she has been. After the miscarriage we started to drift further apart. We didn't have a great life before, but after that, it drifted from a few times a week to once or twice a month. I lost interest and so did she. We both admitted that we didn't enjoy sleeping together. She is very beautiful, but for some reason I just stopped wanting to have close with her and she stopped trying to. I began to resent the fact that she didn't work and would spend her days napping or watching TV while I worked in our home office. Our daughter is in full-time daycare and we have a weekly maid service, so she doesn't have a lot of responsibility. Anyway, in September 2020, she told me she was going to visit a friend in Canada. In reality, she saw her ex and later admitted they kissed, but it was probably more than that. I found out when I found texts on her phone about it a month later. We almost divorced, but we decided to work it out. So, the past 6 months were better. She went to therapy for her grief about the miscarriage, and we talked about couples counseling, but she wanted to work on herself first. I felt like things were getting better. We bought a new house and had a big party for our daughter's 2nd birthday. And she invited this guy, a friend she hadn't spoken to in years but had reconnected with on Facebook. Of course, we annoyed, but 10 years of conditioning and fighting told me I couldn't object. Well, now she is having an affair with him and says she is in love. Of course, I found out by snooping. Even after being caught, she denied it and gaslighted me for days. When she finally admitted it, she said she wanted an open marriage. I considered it. I'd enjoy having new partners as well, but as we discussed it the next day or so, I realized that that kind of relationship only works if you place your primary partner above all else, so my wishes should always be first. I told her I would be open to it, but not with this guy. Why, it made me uncomfortable that she said she loved him. She refused to stop seeing him and acted as if I was unreasonable. Day before yesterday was day 3 after I knew she'd been cheating. We agreed to this open situation, but I was still unhappy. I found myself crying uncontrollably multiple times a day. For one day she put on the facade of telling me I was her number one and she doted on me all day. At the end of the day she announced that, once our daughter was in bed, she was going to his place. This upset me and I started crying. She said okay fine I won't go and then pouted for the next few hours. Finally, I just told her to leave because I knew that's what she wanted. So she left. I woke up at 2 a.m. alone with our baby crying. I called her and told her I missed her and would like her to come home. She was very annoyed and said she would be home before our daughter woke up, I guess thinking what I cared about was her helping as a parent rather than me wanting my companion. When she came home yesterday, she was cold to me. It was like night and day compared to the day before. I wasn't her number one and she said she needed to think about what she wanted. I asked her to work with me on this open marriage thing and be understanding how hurt I am. I asked that she not have overnight stays with him and she argued with me that there was no difference. This made me realize that an open marriage wouldn't work because she doesn't respect my wishes. She loves him and it doesn't seem like she loves me anymore. So I packed a bag and took my daughter to my sister's house. Since I left, she hasn't made any effort to reach out to me, other than to ask how our daughter is. I woke up this morning to a text asking when I was coming home. I responded that I wasn't because you don't want me anymore. It's been over an hour with no response. I'm a mess, but I guess better not being there. I just can't believe this is happening. I feel so sad and alone and betrayed. I'm fearful about my future because she owns everything and I signed a prenup that says I get nothing but what I came in with, which was nothing. So now I'm 35, starting over with nothing. My law firm is just barely starting to make a profit. But I also miss her and desperately want her to reach out and tell me she loves me. I'm sure she's happy I'm gone though. I just ask God what I did to deserve this. How could someone I love hurt me so badly? For anyone wondering, I took my daughter with me, but I am not preventing my wife from seeing her. If she called right now wanting to pick her up, it would be fine. It's telling to me that she hasn't.